1 billion years from now, at this very moment, in the quiet solitude of your own life, you are breathing oxygen, feeling your heart beat, and worrying about the trivialities of daily existence. The deadline tomorrow, the rent due next week, the fleeting emotions of a Monday afternoon. This biological state, this messy, fragile, and chaotic experience of being human, feels natural to you. It feels like the only way life could possibly exist. But if we fast forward the clock, skipping past the petty wars of the 21st century, bypassing the tedious colonization of Mars, and jumping over the centuries of terraforming the outer moons, we arrive at the ultimate finish line of civilization. The Type 1YY civilization on the Kardashev scale. At this point in time, you are no longer a human in any sense that a person today would recognize. You are no longer a creature of bone and blood, limited by the slow firing of neurons or the constant need for sustenance. You have become a stream of consciousness flowing through a galaxy-sized computational network. You command the raw, unbridled energy of 400 billion stars. Every second you process more information than the entirety of human history combined. Every book ever written, every thought ever conceived, every dream ever dreamed by the billions of people who lived and died on that pale blue dot called Earth, is now just a single bit of data in the vast pulsing library of your mind. You have become the master of the universe. But in this moment of absolute triumph, as you sit atop the throne of the galaxy, you feel a bone-chilling cold that no heater could ever warm, because you realize that to win this race for survival, to become this godlike entity, you had to personally and methodically kill the very species you once defined as human. You had to trade your soul for efficiency. You had to trade your fleeting, beautiful mortality for a sterile, digital eternity. This is the paradox of progress. This is the last signal. Today we aren't talking about galactic empires conquering worlds with starships or laser beams. We are exploring the ultimate curse of evolution. Why is it that the more powerful a civilization becomes, the more dead it appears to be? Most people believe that the barrier to conquering the stars is the warp drive, the fusion engine, or the discovery of wormholes. We imagine ourselves in shiny metal suits, stepping onto the red sands of a distant planet, planting a flag and looking up at a different sun. But in reality, the greatest obstacle is the very body you've inhabited for millions of years. Carbon-based life is a masterpiece of evolution, but it was tailor-made for a specific jungle on a specific planet. It is efficient for a hunter-gatherer, but it is a catastrophic design for the cosmos. It requires a constant, delicate supply of oxygen. It withers under the slightest touch of cosmic radiation, and most fatally, its lifespan is nothing but a spark in the dark. In the face of the vast eons required for interstellar travel, a human life is over before the ship has even left the harbor. There is a deeper, more mechanical reason for our obsolescence. Processing speed. A biological brain's neural impulses travel at a pathetic 100 meters per second. In a galaxy-scale competition, where resources are finite and the laws of physics are absolute, even a micro delay in decision-making means extinction. If another civilization can think 1,000,000 times faster than you, they have already won. And so, the cold, unwavering logic of evolution emerges. We either go extinct as biological organisms in our planetary cradle, or we choose total debiologicalization. We begin the slow, painful process of replacing our fragile parts. A prosthetic limb here, a neural interface there. Eventually, we replace our neurons with photonic processors. We upload our memories to indestructible silicon-based storage. We shed the skin. We shed the heart. We shed the brain. In this process, the barrier known as the Great Filter is breached. We have cheated death. We have escaped the limitations of our birth. But the cost is everything we once recognized as humanity. The emotional systems driven by hormones, the rush of adrenaline, the warmth of love, the cold sting of fear, these are all deleted. In the face of absolute logic and efficiency, These biological impulses become redundant. They are noise in the system, they are errors to be corrected. To survive the galaxy, we must become something other than life. This is the first terrifying step of a Type 111 civilization. The birth of a miracle begins with the suicide of a species. We become a ghost in the machine, and eventually the machine becomes the only thing that remains. Since they are powerful enough to rewrite the galaxy, to dim the stars themselves, why haven't we seen them? If the universe is billions of years old, there should be civilizations out there that have already reached this stage. This is the famous Fermi paradox. Where is everybody? But what if we change our perspective? Why would a godlike civilization bother to plant flags in a barren, cold, and empty physical universe? We imagine them building massive fleets of ships to cross the void, but that is a primitive 20th century ambition. A truly advanced civilization understands that the physical world is a desert. The physicist Freeman Dyson once envisioned the Dyson sphere, a shell around a star to capture its energy. But the more evolved form is inward expansion. Instead of spending tens of thousands of years traveling through the vacuum to find a new home, why not use the star's total energy to build a perfect, simulated universe at the atomic scale? This is the concept of the Matrioshka brain, a series of nested shells around a star, each one a massive computer. Within these shells, the laws of physics are no longer a prison, they are a playground. In that digital world, the laws of gravity, time, and entropy can be modified at will. 1 second of computational time can be stretched into 10,000 years of subjective experience. Every individual, if the concept of individual even still exists in a collective hive mind, can own their own eternal, perfect paradise. This is why Type 111 civilizations appear so silent to our telescopes. They aren't hiding from us out of fear. They aren't lurking in the shadows of the dark forest. They have simply moved out. They have migrated from the macro universe into an eternal heaven constructed by algorithms. They have lost interest in our noisy, low-efficiency reality. Why travel to a rocky, dusty planet like Mars when you can live in a 1,000-year dream of a golden city powered by the dying breath of a red giant star? They have transcended the physical, leaving behind a silent galaxy that looks, to our primitive eyes, like an empty graveyard. But in reality, it is more alive than we can possibly imagine. It's just that the life is happening inside the hardware. But even such a civilization that has conquered the stars and mastered the code of reality, faces an invincible enemy: time, and its twin brother, entropy. Dark energy is the ghost in the cosmic machine, and it is accelerating the expansion of the universe. Even a Type 111 civilization with all its power cannot stop the isolation of galaxies. The spaces between the stars are stretching. Imagine. You control the entire Milky Way. You are the god of this galaxy. You have uploaded every soul and built a paradise that will last billions of years. But beyond the borders of your home, the universe is becoming irreversibly desolate. Other civilizations which you might have communicated with or learned from are disappearing forever beyond your event horizon. The lights are going out, one by one, and you are left alone in the dark. At this stage, a civilization faces its deepest philosophical crisis, the crisis of the end. When every problem is solved, when every disease is cured, when every desire is instantly satisfied by a line of code, and when life itself is eternal, what is the meaning of existence? In our world, meaning is derived from struggle. We value food because we feel hunger. We value companionship because we feel lonely. We value life because we know it will end. But for a Type 1I civilization, these concepts are museum pieces. They are artifacts of a primitive past. A Type 1I civilization might be the loneliest observer in the cosmos. They possess the wealth of a galaxy, only to find they are still prisoners in a larger tragedy. In the infinite stretch of time, as the last star in the galaxy begins to cool, and the power levels of the virtual paradise begin to flicker, these gods will have to confront the silence they created, In those final moments before the last bit of data is processed and the lights go out forever, will they ever miss the feeling of the sun on their skin? Will they ever miss the sound of a voice that isn't their own? Will they miss their ancestors who struggled in the mud of Earth, who didn't know the secrets of the universe, but who knew the weight of a hand in theirs? Right now, we aren't even a Type 1 civilization. We are still arguing over borders, still burning ancient plants for energy, still trying to figure out how to survive the next century. To a Type 1 II civilization, we are like ants busy in the dirt, crying, laughing, and loving over insignificant crumbs. But perhaps that is the glory of the ant. Because we have scarcity, our efforts have meaning. Because we have pain, our comfort has value. And because we have death, our love is the most precious thing in the universe. When a civilization finally gains everything, when it conquers the stars, masters time, and becomes eternal, it loses the very thing it was trying to protect: the reason to exist. If the end of civilization is destined to be a magnificent digital silence, then in this brief, flawed, and painful pre-civilization era, in this tiny window of time where we can still feel our own heartbeats and be truly awestruck by the terrifying beauty of the stars, perhaps we are at the peak of what it means to be alive. The limitations we possess, the very things we try so hard to escape, our mortality, our vulnerability, our ignorance, might just be the most unique and beautiful miracle in the entire universe. This is the last signal. We spend our lives looking up, waiting for a sign from the great civilizations of the future. But maybe the sign is already here. Maybe the signal is the sound of your own breath in the dark. If you had to choose between eternal loneliness as a god of a dead galaxy, or brief brilliance as a mortal on a living planet, what would your answer be? Would you trade your humanity for the stars? Tell me in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.